Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Mz.Gloglo's Spiritual Motivation. Happy Friday to everybody, and how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody having a blessed day in the Lord so far. And we are back with another spiritual motivation. We are going to be talking from 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter today. I'm going to go right ahead and get it pulled up. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is blessed. I am blessed as well. It is good to be back on this platform again. As always, it is always a pleasure to be on this platform. So, what did everybody do today? Anybody have any special plans for the weekend? Any special plans for the weekend? I know I don't. I just take it one day by day. As the Lord give it to me, that's how I take it. So, what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be, if you see me keep looking down, that's because I'm looking at my phone. I am actually uploading the video right now. If you haven't already joined my other channel, go subscribe to my other channel, which is Mz.Gloglo Loves Love. We have a video that's being uploaded right now, and it should be uploaded probably within the next 15, 20 minutes, I would say. And I had a seafood boil from Angry Crab Shack. So that's what's going on the other channel. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, Mz.Gloglo Spiritual Motivation, go ahead and do so. And don't forget to thumbs up this video, leave me a comment down below, and share this video out with anybody you choose. It would greatly be appreciated by Mz.Gloglo, okay? So what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about what we want to hear from God or through prophecy of God. You know, when I first seen this, and today we are doing our daily bread. When I first seen this, it brought to mind that when I first got saved and I used to go to church all the time, I used to stay up at the altar. And when I go up there, I always wanted to run up there, especially when somebody new was coming to the church, there was a prophet or something. I always wanted to go and hear, you know, thinking, oh God, the Lord got a word for me, you know. And I ain't been too long got through doing a seafood boiling. Y'all know seafood smells. But I always run up there because I'll be trying to hear a word from the Lord. Oh, let me see what the man or the woman of God have for me. And when they prophecy to me, it never be what I want. You know, I always be wanting, because I was just coming into the fold of Christ. I always wanted either it to be saying, I'm going to get some money, I'm going to get a house, I'm going to get a husband. It always was something I want. It was, to me, I think of it now, it was selfish. It was selfish of me. It wasn't about me wanting the Lord to say, you're going to do this for somebody, you're going to bless somebody, you're going to help somebody. It was just me, which I'm sure a lot of you can agree with that. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. This lesson is actually coming from the 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter, starting at the 5th through the 27th verse. So it's pretty long. It's a nice little amount of scriptures. So I'm going to go ahead and read the daily bread inspiration message to you guys. And it starts as this. What we want to hear. As human beings, we are prone to seek out information that supports the opinion we hold. Research shows that we are actually twice as likely to look for information that supports our position. That's what I just got through saying. It really do. When you think of something that you want to hear, somebody trying to give you a word or prophesying to you, or even if it's just somebody in your family or somebody on your job, when they tell you something you want to hear something that benefits you. And that's how I used to feel. That's how I used to be. But now I don't, you know. So it's a big difference when you get Christ in your life and he changed you from the inside out. It really makes a difference in your life. Okay, it say when we're deeply committed to our own way of thinking, we avoid having that thinking challenged by opposing positions. Such was the case in King Ahab rule over Israel when he and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, discussed whether to go to war against Ramoth Gilead. Ahab gathered 400 prophets, men he appointed to that role himself, would therefore tell him what he wanted to hear to help them decide. Each replied he should go, saying, God will give it into the king's hand. That's in 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter at the 5th verse. Jehoshaphat said that whether there was a prophet who had been chosen by God through whom he could inquire of the Lord. Ahab responded reluctantly because God prophet Micaiah never prophesies anything good about him, but always bad. That's in verse 7. It'll tell you about that. Indeed, Micaiah indicated they wouldn't be victorious and the peoples would be scattered on the hills. Micaiah was a prophet that he chose himself to be a prophet. And what it's saying is that Micaiah was a prophet that always prophesied bad things. Never prophesied nothing good that he wanted to hear. Okay? And then they say, indeed, Micaiah indicated they wouldn't be victorious and the people would be scattered on hills. That's in verse 16. And reading this story, I see how I too tend to avoid wise advice if it isn't what I want to hear. That is so true. If it's something that we don't want to hear, we will at all costs avoid hearing it. It's not interesting. We just won't hear it. And that is true. In Ahab's case, the result of listening to his yes men's 400 prophet was disastrous. That's in verse 34. If you want to continue reading, just read the whole 2 Chronicles chapter 18 and it'll tell you all about that. Okay, then they say, may we be willing to seek and listen to the voice of truth, God's words in the Bible, even when it contradicts our personal preferences. No, because that's just like when we go to church and the preacher get to preaching. If he preaching on something that we are doing right now, when he preaching, we don't want to hear it. We think, oh, he talking about me, or oh, somebody done told him something about me. No. Ain't nobody told him nothing. The only somebody told him something is the good Lord. God said his word come not to conceal what you do, but to convict you so that you can refrain or turn away from those sins. The word didn't come to conceal you. It didn't come to cover up, to hide, or to protect you while you are doing those sins. It come to convict your heart and to make you change, turn things around. Okay? It say God word in the Bible even when it contradicts our personal preferences. Then it say, Lord, help me to seek and heed your counsel even when it's against my desires or popular thought. God counsel is trustworthy and wise. Now let's go to 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter, and we're going to start at the 5th verse, okay? The 5th verse. The 5th verse says, therefore, king of Israel gathered together of prophets 400 men, and said unto them, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, go up, for God will deliver it into the king's hand. But Jehoshaphat said, is there not a prophet here of the Lord besides? Is there not a prophet here? Is there not a prophet here? Is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides that we might inquire of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man by whom we may inquire of the Lord, but I hate him, for he never prophesies good unto me, but always evil. The same is Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. And the king of Israel called for one of his officers and said, Fetch quickly Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, sat either of them on his throne, clothed in their robes, and they sat in a void, a place at the entering of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zedekiah, the son of Keanah, had made him horns of iron, and said, Thus says the Lord, with these thou shalt push Syria until they be consumed. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. Excuse me, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And the where was I at? I lost it. Okay. And the messenger that went to call Micaiah spake to him, saying, Behold, the words of the prophets declare good to the king with one accent. Let thy word, therefore, I pray thee, be like one of theirs, and speak thou good. And Micaiah said, As the Lord liveth, even what my God said, that will I speak. And when he was come to the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? Now this is Micaiah. That's the one who he always, whenever he called him up before him to prophesy, to tell him what the Lord said, Micaiah never has anything good to tell him. Well, he never have anything to tell him what he want to hear. Remember how I said sometime when you, if you in service and you somebody prophesying to you or try to prophecy to you, you want them to prophesy something good to you. You know, like you're going to do good in the future, or you're going to be married, or you're going to get wealthy, or you're going to be rich. But he was never getting that kind of prophecy. He was always getting told bad things from Micaiah. And he did not like that. Okay? And he said, go ye up and prosper, and they shall be delivered unto your hand. And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure thee, that thou say nothing but the truth to me in the name of the Lord? Then he said, I did see all Israel scattered upon the mountain as sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master. Let them return therefore every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell thee that he would not prophesy good unto me, but only evil? See, I'm telling you, that's what it is. Jehoshaphat and the king, Jehoshaphat, he didn't want Micaiah to prophesy to him, because he never told him any good prophecies. He tell him what the Lord tell him, but it's not what he wants to hear. Okay? It's just not what he wants to hear. And it say, again he said, Therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, Who shall entice Ahab, king of Israel, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one spake, saying, After this manner, and another spake after that manner. Then there came out a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will entice him. Okay? And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go out and be a lion spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. See there? The enemy, Satan. You know, the Lord said, listen to this. It said, and there came a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will entice him. And the Lord said unto The Lord said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go out, and I will be a lying spirit. Remember, it was 400 prophets that came before the king and Jehoshaphat to prophesy to them, to let them know that the battle was going to be victorious, that they was going to win, they was going to be delivered by the hands of the Lord, and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? That's why the Lord tell you be careful, because the enemy is going up and down, to and fro, seeming whom he may be able to devour. The enemy comes nothing to do nothing but kill, steal, and destroy. So, as the Lord come before the 400 prophets, the spirit the spirit of the devil came right along with him, and he told him he gonna go out and he gonna put a lying spirit on the prophet's mouth. That's something, I'm telling you. This lets you know it's real, okay? It is so real. It say, thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord had put a lying spirit in the mouth of these my prophets, and the Lord had spoken evil against thee. Then Zedekiah, the son of Shadana, came near and smote Micaiah upon the cheek, and said, which way went the spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto thee? And Micaiah said, behold, thou shalt see on that day when thou shalt go into an inner chamber to hide thyself. Then the king of Israel said, take ye Micaiah, and carry him back to Ammon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son, and say, thus saith the king, put this fellow in prison, and feed him with bread of affliction and with water of affliction, until I return in peace. And Micaiah said, if thou certainly return in peace, then hath not the Lord spoken by me? He said, hearken, all ye peoples. So what ended up happening? After the enemy put the lying spirits on all of the prophecy mouth, they took the one and put him in jail, okay? They put him in jail because you know what? And in doing so, what happened is, because they refused to listen to Micaiah, because she was telling them what to do, that the Lord, the Lord had already told him that. He said, how many times have I adjured thee to come to say nothing but the truth to me in the name of the Lord? And that's what Micaiah was doing, but he just didn't want to receive that, because he was saying you was not going to be victorious, to go home in peace. It just wasn't going to happen. So what ended up happening is Ahab ended up dying in battle. But that's another story. Now let's go to the footnotes on what we just read. Starting at the 5th verse, it says, when you want to please or impress someone, it is tempting to lie to make yourself look good. Ahab, 400 prophets did just that, telling Ahab only what he wanted to hear. That's why. Because every time they tried to tell him what they needed to tell him, he just wouldn't believe it. He just wouldn't believe it. So what happened is the enemy put a lying spirit on the tongues of those prophets, and it came to ruin. Okay? Then it says, they were then rewarded for making Ahab happy. Micaiah, however, told the truth. And what happened to Micaiah? When she told them the truth, that what they should do, go home and be happy. The Lord was not finna deliver them. He was not finna avenge them. Because the people that they was going up against, they hadn't did nothing. So what happened is, when Micaiah told him the truth, Micaiah was arrested and was thrown in jail. But the ones with the lying spirit on their tongue and their mouth, they did. But Micaiah did. So it says, then they were rewarded for making him happy, because they had lied to him, okay? They had lied to Ahab, and that made them happy because they told him what he wanted to hear. But Micaiah told him the truth, and she got arrested. And if you want to know about that, read 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter, I think it's like the 25th, 26th verse. But read that. And then it say, obeying God does not always protect us from evil consequences. Obedience may in fact provoke them, but it is better to suffer from man's displeasure than from God's wrath. That is so true. It is better to suffer at the hands of somebody else. One moment. I told you I was uploading. One moment. It is better to suffer at the hands of somebody else than to suffer the wrath of the Lord. You do not want to suffer the wrath of the Lord. And that is the whole truth. Just don't want to do it. So what do you guys think so far about that? What do you think so far about that? Because you know what? I would myself, I would prefer somebody to tell me the truth than to lie to me. I really would. I would prefer somebody to tell me the truth than to lie to me. Don't just lie to me. Because you know what? Lying ain't cool. Lying ain't cool. And then the Lord said he hates a liar, that they can't even tarry in his sight on the day of judgment. Who want to wait until the day of judgment come and you be cast into hell just because you is a pathological liar? Nobody. Anybody in their right mind wouldn't want that. I wouldn't. Just a moment. Let me pull this video up. Just a minute, my guys. Thank you for your patience. I wasn't trying to be doing this while I'm doing this, but I got to do it now. I got to do it now. Let me make sure this is the right video. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's the right video. Yep. Let me make sure. I had to make sure. Once I get it going. I'm sorry, guys, but this is how I gotta work it. I gotta work it like this. I gotta work it like this. So anyway, what I was saying is that it says, obeying God does not always protect us from evil consequences. Obedience may in fact provoke them, but it is better to suffer from a man's displeasure than from God's wrath. You can read about that in Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. And then they say, if you are ridiculed for being honest, remember that this can be a sign that you are indeed doing what is right in God's eyes. If you are ridiculed for being honest, remember it could possibly mean that you are doing something absolutely right in God's eyes, especially if you're being ridiculed for doing something that you know is right. Of course. Okay. One moment. I am so sorry, guys. Just a moment. I'm trying to make it short. I can finish it once I get it to YouTube. Just a moment. Now, guys. Sorry. That's what happened when you're trying to work two jobs at one. Okay, so now let's get back into this. We almost finished anyway. And it says, okay, if you want to know about being really ridiculed for doing something that you know is right, read Matthew the 5th chapter, read Romans the 8th chapter, okay? Then the footnote said, God uses the seductive influence of false prophets to judge Ahab. They were determined to tell Ahab what he wanted to hear. God confirmed their plans to lie as a means to remove Ahab from the throne. These prophets supported Ahab, snared him in his sin. Because he listened to them instead of God, he was killed in battle. Ahab got killed in battle. And because Ahab had chosen those for prophecy, and he wanted them to tell them good things, promising things, and great news from the Lord. But when they told him what God said, it ended up causing them to start lying to him. So because that's what made Ahab happy, because he was a king. But that is not what made the Lord happy. God confirmed their plans to lie as means to remove. He used the lying tongues of those men to remove Ahab from being the king. Okay? That's how God uses it. That's how he do. It's gonna be God's will regardless. Regardless of how you feel, it's going to be God's will. Okay? It said he was killed in battle. The lying spirit is a picture of the prophet's entire way of life, telling the king only what he wanted to hear, not what he needed to hear. For their whole life, they was lying, telling the king what he wanted to hear, instead of telling them what he needed to hear, which was the truth. Their lies causes Ahab to lose the throne and his life. It is better to be obedient than to burn. Just like you could tell a lie, you could tell the truth. The same muscles you use to tell a lie, you could tell the truth and use even less muscles. That's the same saying. It's the same muscles you use to frown in your face when you get mad. You can use them same muscles to give a smile, to be happy. Okay? What he needed to hear. Leaders will only find trouble if they surround themselves with advisors whose only thought is to please them. Just because you have been put in a position just because you have been put in the position to be a leader, to be a ruler, don't mean that everything that be told to you or prophesied to you has to be good. Life is not meant to be easy. God never said it was going to be easy. Okay? But one thing he did do, he promised that he will supply all of your needs. And he said, even God gave us more. He's saying some of your wants according to his riches and glory. So, don't let what we want to hear keep us from hearing what God has for us to hear. Don't let it. Don't let what we want to hear keep us from hearing the truth. And don't let us spread lies just to make ourselves look good. Let's be honest. Honest. Let's be obedient. Okay? So today's lesson came from 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter, starting at the 5th verse to the 27th verse. And it says, I hate him because he never prophesies anything good about me, but always bad. Ahab hated Micaiah because he never told him what he wanted to hear. He told him what the Lord wanted him to tell him. And because of that, Micaiah was thrown in prison and was tormented. He was thrown in prison, Said he was thrown in prison, and they fed him bread of affliction and water of affliction until he returned in peace. So don't go around telling people what you want them to know. Tell them what God wants them to know. Tell them the truth. With that being said, thank you all for joining this spiritual motivation. I hope you got something out of it. Please read 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter, and I'm sure you will enjoy it and you will get something out of it. I did. I got, when I have to tell somebody something, to tell them the truth, no sugarcoating, no holding back. Tell them the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God, that's what I would do. And that's what you do. So don't go around telling people what they want to hear. Instead, tell them what God said. We are all under one God, one nation, one love, peace. And until the next video, guys, happy Friday. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay prayed up. And remember, God loves you so much that he gave his only begotten son. And I do too. Bye. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, share. I love you. Peace.